People should know that the land takes care of you. You know, nature is taking care of itself. And if people would just read the land, then they'd have so much more enjoyment when they come out here. I am a member of the San Carlos Apache Tribe, and I live here in San Carlos, Arizona. If you point somewhere on a map anywhere, I can tell you exactly what kind of animals are in a 5-mile radius of that spot.
The community has used the Tonto National Forest since the establishment of Globe in the area. We're talking the mid-1870s. In my lifetime, it's mostly been flooding and fires. Fires from far back as I can remember are usually pretty dramatic. A lot of our rainstorms post-fires generally make for larger floods.
Over the years, from when I was a kid till now, the rainfall and snowfalls have gone way, way down. And that has really affected the vegetation out there, and also as far as wildfires go.
A lot of these landscapes were developed and grew with fire, and they need fire again in order to function properly. So the Tonto National Forest has had a long-standing relationship with the San Carlos Apache Tribe, our community members, and our local partners, especially when it comes around to wildfire threat and initial attack.
The Highway Tanks project started back in 2023. We have 115,000 acres ready to be treated. This is one of our first keystone agreements that we had with the Forest Service here in Arizona. And ever since then, we've been entirely grateful for the partnership because we've got a lot of work done. Not only are we aiming to improve mule deer habitat, but we're also looking to reduce the risk of wildfire for communities in the area.
So nearby, we've had the Telegraph Fire in the recent years, and that was 180,000 acres. That really impacted the city of Globe, our communities, our local landowners.
We watched it from our house. I don't think I've ever seen flames quite that large and shut everything down. A lot of the routes had to be rebuilt. There are some trails that exist on the mountain that are still closed.
In Arizona, we're so lucky to have just an immense amount of public lands at our disposal to recreate on. And we've seen firsthand the devastating impacts of the high severity wildfires we've been experiencing on those natural areas.
The Mule Deer Foundation is a great partner for us here locally because it really does align with the Forest Service's goals. We want to make sure we reduce catastrophic wildfire. We want to make sure that we give this landscape ecosystem resilience. If we can implement smaller patches, smaller mosaics of these higher, moderate intensity fires on the landscape, then we benefit and we don't have to restrict use moving forward.
On the Highway Tanks project, there's a lot of permitted land that the Forest Service gives ranchers for them to run their cattle on. So while we're out here on the project, we talked to a local rancher here by the name of Ben Griffin, here with the Griffin Ranch. Really talking to him is some of the best information that we can get because he uses this land every day.
So my family's been ranching here since 1902. The landscape is unique in that it's dry, but it's diverse, but the feed is real hardy. So what's here supports grazers in the system and browsers and the wildlife.
Mule deer are just such an iconic big game species of the West, and they face so many challenges like long-term drought and habitat fragmentation. So I think I personally appreciate being part of an organization that is helping protect and enhance their habitat.
The reason we target juniper so heavily is because the amount of water that they acquire. It's just water that we really need for these deer. Springs that have been plentiful in the past have just gone dry. I think one of the biggest targets here is just removing this brush, removing these junipers, just so that water table can rise and that we can maybe see some of these springs respond in a positive way.
Water is absolutely and definitely worth more than gold itself. Between water sources averages about 2 to 3 miles. You take away just one, all of a sudden they're traveling 6 and 7 miles for the animals to get to a water source.
There was a couple years there where we had to haul water every year, every other day, hauling a load of water. And so we're trying to get away from that. And we couldn't do it without help from the Mule Deer Foundation, the Forest Service, going in on projects that add water for wildlife and the cows everywhere so that it's year-round instead of just seasonal.
What's great with Arizona Game and Fish Department is that we have this landowner relations program, and we can get more habitat work done. That mutually benefits the rancher and Arizona Game and Fish and the Mule Deer Foundation.
Salt River Project manages a system of 7 reservoirs that collect the rain and snowmelt from the Salt and Verde River and East Clear Creek watersheds. And so we're really focused on being proactive in this space. And we know that long-term investments are needed to achieve the landscape scale risk reduction that's needed throughout Arizona.
The Highway Tanks project is what we call a multi-phase project, where this will be ongoing for multiple years. The target is really just to benefit this watershed as much as we can, and this partnership with the Forest Service allows us to do so.
Shared stewardship is really important, and all of that is going to benefit from having fire as a more natural cycle on this landscape.
And I'm hopeful that all the different aspects of the project, we get enough progress that other people see and then replicate what we do.
Taking any and all necessary steps to help keep the water in the ground and the forest healthy, it's a major key to survival in the Southwest.
At least try to understand, why we value the land so much, because it has taken care of our people for hundreds, thousands of years. And the Apache value it above everything else. You allow the land to become a part of you. You don't become a part of the land.